Alright guys, so I'm Game Over Jesse, and today I have Jonathan from blahblahLPs with me. Jonathan, won't you go ahead and tell us about yourself?
Hey everybody, just like you said, I'm blahblahLPs. I do mostly Nintendo content on my channel, alongside Kingdom Hearts. You could see the Keyblade. But yeah, earlier I went to Best Buy and I was able to play two games that I was actually looking forward to. I thought I was just going to play Mario Maker. Turns out Link, Link, Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes was there, and boy, was it an interesting little treat. Cause what was the first thing you wanted to know about, basically, about the game?
Just how the game feels. It looks like it's based off of the same engine from A Link Between Worlds, and I was just curious on how it feels compared to that title.
I would say, yeah, it looks exactly like the engine from Link Between Worlds. So it's essentially a combination of Four Swords and A Link Between Worlds, just a perfect matchup. The only thing is, obviously, based on like the Triforce, and you saw in the treehouse and all, it's only three. You only play as three different characters, and it's the red, blue, and green tunics, I guess, based on like the goddesses, like from the stories and yada yada. So that's why they cut out the purple, which sucks because that was my favorite color out of this whole thing. But I digress. The whole thing itself, basically, with the four dungeons they had, there were four, and they let you choose and vote on it. Like, it obviously it's not going to be like that for the full game, but I found it funny that you could vote on which one you started with. And at first I thought there were five, and I was like, all right, Fire Temple, Forest Temple, I forgot the other two, and then all of a sudden the last one's like, I can't decide. So I literally just hit can't decide, and then you get to choose a tunic, like, to basically go through the entire thing, and each one has like their own power-up. One is like a bomb, one that gives you like bigger bombs. One is like a lucky suit, I forgot exactly what it was called, but basically you can randomly get hit but be transparent and like, oh no, psych, you're not hit. And you just move your way out of the way. And then there's the dress that makes you look like Zelda. I don't know what Nintendo's doing there. They're only causing more confusion.
Yeah, you're supposed to pick up more heart pieces.
The thing about the heart pieces, like you actually share hearts. It's like 3D World and all of Mario, where you actually share the stuff. So you share the rupees, you share the hearts. So the first thing I did, like whenever we're trying to get through, we were doing completely wrong things. I was like, all right, I'm mad at you. So I literally just picked someone up and threw them at a spear. And I was like, why'd my health go down? They're like, we share hearts. Oh, did you know that? No, but you taught me, thank you. So, well, there you go. You share everything, and you actually really have to work together. Like,
So there's a strong focus on co-op,
right, like,
as opposed to just versing each
complete
other.
opposite of something like, let's take any other co-op game from Nintendo, for example. You can be a troll, you can mess with whoever you're playing with, but it won't hurt you. But here it will, and you will hate anybody who messes around. Because you may have seen in like the treehouse, they showed similar stuff that's in the exact same demo we got. There's a part of the Fire Temple stage where there's lava everywhere, and you have to run on all these molten rocks that are you have to run all the way from the beginning, spread yourselves out, and everybody hit a beam, like a little orb, across the map at the same time or within a similar span. If you hit one and then move to the next and move to the next, it's gonna go away. You all had to hit it like in a reasonable amount of time. And then there's other stuff, and we were talking about this right before we started this recording. I don't want to call it the Gust Bells because I'm not 100% sure if that's what it was.
But it's an item with the same properties.
It's an item with the same properties where instead of just blowing stuff away, you actually blow each other away. The items, not so much like the bows, like they don't hurt you, like they kind of just phase through, but stuff like the Gust Bellows and even the Boomerang all affect the entire gameplay. So again, back to the fire stage, before that spread out section, there's actually a section where you have to blast each other across. One person, by the way, holds the gust bellows. Another person has to have the arrows. Another person has to have the boomerang. And we each pick them up. I don't know if in the full one you're going to be able to grab them all and alternate between them all, but here they were all literally standing right in front of you. You have to pick them up and decide who does what. So
you don't choose the items before you get in the dungeon? They're there for you to decide after you load yourself into the dungeon?
They spawn after you load into the dungeon. So let's say you start in the beginning, there's next to nothing, like there might be an enemy or something simple, you slash at it, it's dead. But the most important part is the puzzle in every single section. So there's stuff like tower spitting fire, you might think you have to do something with that, but sometimes it's so simple as blast your friends to the other side with the gust bellows, I'm gonna call it, and then the one person with the boomerang has to grab the person that was left behind and reel them in. But again, the platforms are sinking in the lava, so you have to get blasted, turn around, whip them with the boomerang, have it come back to you, and hurry up and get off before it sinks and you both lose a heart, which makes you lose 2 out of all your hearts. So it's actually a little challenging the first time through. Eventually, once you learn it all, like let's say I want to start speedy running it, and that'd be interesting, by the way, to see a 3-man speed run of a co-op game. That's something I want to see on Twitch from like any kind of speed gamer. So if you do that, hit me up. I want to see that. But from a first-time perspective, we're thinking like it's way too complicated, but then it's simple. Then we think it's simple, and oh, it actually takes a few more steps. So it's actually a puzzle game. It's done well. Then there's simple sections where it's not so much you have to know some special trick. You just have to avoid all the arrows. Run across, and they're just arrows coming out the wall. Avoid them. Then at the end of each section, there was some kind of boss, and the whole totem pole thing came into play, where you would have to pick one person up and throw a bomb, like from the person who was up top. But again, each person holds one of the items. Now, there was one particular section where each of us had, one person had arrows, the other 2 of us had bombs. So, again, different times, different items, different number of people have different number of items, so on and so forth. We'll have to see how all that changes as it goes, but that's how it is now. And we would have to throw bombs overhead, and they'd have to fall into a hole, and then all of a sudden the eye pops out. First thing I thought, well, okay, typical Zelda game, okay, eyeball, shoot it. Now, the arrow's not working. The arrow isn't working. So you actually had to get the totem pole, get all 3 people, and the second person had to throw the first one up on top, and it's a team effort. And then you just slash at it a bunch of times, and you can get 2 people up there, slash, 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 the thing goes back in the hole, you gotta jump out, and it's simple as that. It gets to its next, you gotta repeat it, but it's a little harder this time. So it's like, okay, figure out what to do, and then they go all out at you. So that's basically it for like the Fire Temple and Forest Temple that I was able to play. I want to play the other 2 when I go back, because we're running this on a Wednesday night. It's a 2-day event, so I'm going to try to do the rest of that Saturday, and we'll just see how that goes. But it's very interesting.
About how long do you think the length of the dungeons are compared to normal style Zelda games?
Considering this was a demo, I want to say there was literally 3 to 4 rooms per dungeon. Like, you start off, you learn what's going on. Oh, it's lava. Don't touch the lava. Oh, there are arrows. Don't get hit by arrows. There was one section in the fire dungeon that was very similar to the Fire Temple in Ocarina of Time, in a sense where, imagine all just like the gates and the grids, and there's lava just shooting up from the bottom, and it's a lot of throwback stuff as well. So for an example like that, back when I thought you had to shoot the eyeball with an arrow, not the case, but here it definitely was the case. You had to make sure that the block was on top of the lava so it could shoot all of you up, and then you can move on. But at the same time, you had to hurry because lava's going. So all of a sudden this block goes up in the sky by lava. When it comes down, you gotta hurry up and push the box. and as soon as it gets out the way, you need to get out the way. Let the lava go up, come down, go back, push it. It's actually a little time consuming, and it's not the easiest thing first time through. That's something I'm happy about. It doesn't just hold your hand.
During the demo, was there a representative from Nintendo there to sort of explain things to you?
Yeah, basically, she more or less knew, like, okay, like, as people played, she kind of figured it out herself. She was a sweet old lady, but she's like, I'm not so much into, like, all these 3DS and Wii U games. Like, I remember Pac-Man and Frogger. Like, those are my games. I like having Frogger across the road, and I was like, well, it's the same thing here, but with bombs and arrows. She's like, all right, baby, all right. Like, she was a sweet old lady. She didn't much, but from watching other people, she at least had a good grasp on it. So whenever she saw one person do it, she's like, oh, that's how you do it. And then she sees the next people failing at it miserably, and then when they finally figure it out, she laughs at us and is like, oh wow, it took y'all way longer than the last group. What happened? Or like, for example, when I was playing, coincidentally, and I'm saying I'm terrible at Zelda games, when I was playing, normally there'd be like a time limit for the Mario Maker event right next to us, so 3 minutes there, and then like, it's one of our turns, we go. We were going, like, they had to keep tapping us on the shoulder, like, hey, are you guys done? And we're like, no, and she's like, girl, these kids aren't dying. So, like, apparently other people that were playing were having a tough time, and they kept dying by either lava, arrows, bombs, something. There was something going on.
I
And
bet
there was
the
actually
concept of sharing hearts took a little getting used to as well.
it took a little time getting used to. That was my problem the first time. It took us a few minutes just to get used to the controls. I was like, all right, what does what? And then someone was doing a spin attack. I was like, how do you do that? And then like, oh, just hold this. I'm like, okay, I can't do that. And they're like, oh, well, it must be with this suit or something along those lines. And then eventually I was like, all right, literally press every button. What does what? Okay, swing, just regular jab. Okay, that's my item. How you switch items? She's like, I don't think you can switch. I think I have this and you have and then we just figured it all out. And then something I found really interesting, I was like, okay, what did the triggers do? The Minish Cap thing, the dash attack from Link to the Past and all that is back. So yes, it's just a perfect combination of all the games, just on a fun little 3DS format. Obviously, it's not your main game like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker. It's not all those. It's like the dumbed down version where you play as a group. So again, A Link Between Worlds and Four Swords, perfect mashup. So if you played either of those, you'll get the hang of it rather quickly, and it's still fresh and interesting on top of nostalgic on all the other games. So it's